What's the weirdest punishment or ruling you've ever heard a court hand down? My uncle was a court reporter for over 20 years, and he's full of wild stories, but there's one case he told me about that's always stuck with me. There was this guy in town who kept stealing plants from the local park. Not just any plants, specifically the roses from the Veterans Memorial Garden. They were planted in honor of local vets, complete with little brass nameplates. A really beautiful, meaningful spot. The city replaced the roses 3 times, and each time they vanished again within days. No one could catch the thief, and people were getting seriously upset. Some thought it was vandalism, others thought maybe it was kids messing around. Then the Parks Department installed a new security camera, and sure enough, they caught the guy red-handed, middle of the night, hood up, headlamp on, small shovel in hand, digging up rose bushes like he was harvesting treasure. He was arrested a few days later. Everyone expected a typical outcome, a fine, maybe some community service, that kind of thing. But when the case came before Judge Harmon, things took a turn. My uncle said the courtroom was dead quiet as the judge reviewed the file. He didn't raise his voice or give a speech. He just sat there for a moment thinking, then handed down one of the most unusual rulings anyone had ever seen. Instead of jail time or a fine, the judge ordered the man to personally plant 500 new rose bushes in the Veterans Memorial Garden by hand. He was also required to tend to them every weekend for a full year, but that wasn't even the strange part. The judge also ordered that during his sentence, the man had to wear a bright pink jumpsuit with the words "Plant Thief" printed in huge block letters on the back. The jumpsuit was custom-made and intentionally eye-catching, so bright you could see it from the highway that ran along the park's edge. The defendant looked like he wanted to melt into the floor. He tried to appeal, but the judge stood firm. No jail, no fine. Just accountability in public view. At first, the man showed up miserable, dragging his feet, avoiding eye contact. Drivers honked as they passed. Some people heckled him. Others brought their kids to watch. Local news picked it up, and he became a sort of odd celebrity. But over time, something changed. He started working with more care. He talked to veterans who stopped by. He brought his own gardening tools, even planted flowers around the edge of the memorial that weren't part of the sentence. By the end of the year, the garden had never looked better. And here's the kicker. When his sentence ended, and the city said, "You're free to go," he didn't. He asked if he could keep tending the garden, without the jumpsuit this time, just as a volunteer. The city said yes. Eventually, they offered him a part-time job as the park's official groundskeeper. He's still there today, every weekend, rain or shine. I thought my uncle was pulling my leg, just another courtroom legend, until he pulled out an old newspaper clipping from a dusty file in his office. There he was on the front page, pink jumpsuit, kneeling next to a freshly planted rose bush. Caption read, "From plant thief to park hero." And according to my uncle, the roses are still blooming.